Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we're going to be talking all about how you can stop limiting yourself so that you can achieve more, right? So you are the only reason that you have not succeeded past what you have done in the past or exceeded beyond where you are hoping to go. Why? Because you are placing limits on yourself that God has not placed on you. I'm gonna let that sink in, okay? You are placing limits on yourself that God has not placed on you. When someone tells you you should do something, your immediate thought is, I can't do that. Or when a thought or idea or vision comes in your head, your next immediate thought is, no, that's crazy. Or I can't do that. Or that's too hard. Or that requires too much work, right? Your immediate thoughts are negative thoughts. And when your brain is hardwired to think like this, that's what is going to become your reality. Because when you are telling yourself that you can't do something, you're already placing a limit on yourself, so you will never be able to achieve it. You have to rewire your brain so that when you think of things, so that when you hear things, so that when people talk to you about things, your immediate thought is, oh, that's easy. I can do that. I can make that happen. Or if that's not your immediate thought, your next thought should be, I can figure out a way to make this happen for me. How can I figure out a way? How can I make this happen, right? And so that first step in the process is to actually start recognizing that this is the way that you're thinking, that you're already internally placing these limits on yourself, and that's why you're not progressing. That's why you're not hitting these goals that you keep setting for yourself, because you have your subconscious mind will never allow you to reach it. You can't be creative enough to come up with what it is that you need to come up with in order to achieve what it is you want to achieve. In order to get over this then, start taking notes. When something pops into your head, or when you see something online, or when someone shares something with you, write down whatever that negative thought is, or write down whatever popped into your head and reframe it, right? And so if something negative popped into your head, you are writing it down in a reframed version, right? And so if your head, what popped up was, I can't do this, what you're writing down is, how can I make XYZ happen? How can I make this thing happen, right? So what you're putting onto paper, writing the vision and making it plain, is what you are actually wanting to do. Is how you are questioning yourself. You are questioning, you're giving your brain an answer, or you're giving your brain a puzzle to solve, right? Because when you're limiting yourself, you're placing limitations on your brain, and your brain is not gonna come up with things to help you solve that problem, or to help you get through that issue, or to help you reach that milestone, or to help you reach that goal. So that's that first thing. Recognize it, acknowledge it in your head, and write it down and reframe it. And then start brainstorming some ideas, right? Get into the habit of reframing your thoughts and reprogramming your mind to think in a completely different manner, a manner that's going to allow you to come up with the tools, the resources, everything that you need to hit and actually reach those goals, so that you can expound far beyond the limitations that you've been placing on yourself for your entire career, for your entire life. In that same notion, right? You're trying to change, you're trying to move forward, you're trying to hit different, better, higher goals. You cannot base how you move in the now and how you plan to move in the future based on what has happened in the past. What has happened in the past is the past. Stop perceiving your future or picturing your future based on what you have done in the past. Because what you have done in the past, if it worked, you wouldn't be where you are now trying to figure out how to have a different future. You have to do something different. You have to perceive something different. If you are only able to perceive the future by what you yourself has experienced in the past, you'll never go beyond where you are currently. And let me give you an example of that. If you are saying to yourself, well, I want to be a millionaire, but you are only perceiving becoming a millionaire as working a 9-to-5 job, and you've been working a 9-to-5 job for 35, 40, 50 years, then how are you going to think of any other way to become a millionaire if you are only perceiving it in that one way of working a 9-to-5 job? You have to think outside of the box. You have to tell yourself and give yourself an opportunity to find different ways, to explore different ways to hit different goals, because your past does not define your future. And perhaps by limiting yourself and only thinking about things as how you have done it in the past, or what you yourself have been through in the past, you're immediately stopping yourself from potentially the one thing that you need to be doing to actually hit that goal in the future. right? And along those same lines, that's exactly why you have to surround yourself with people who are doing better than you. You have to surround yourself with people who are doing better than you. You cannot let that be an intimidating factor. Why? Because when you surround yourself with people who are doing better than you, what you're going to do is you're going to absorb from them. You're not going to only be able to perceive the future by your past, but you're going to be able to perceive the future by what you're seeing all around you. You're going to be able to perceive your future by this millionaire's mindset, by this billionaire's mindset, by this six-figure earner's mindset, and look at all of their experiences and ask yourself, how can I apply that to my life? How can I use what they have done, their experiences, to get where they are to my life? Because clearly what I've been doing in the past hasn't been working. How can I take what they have done, what I am learning from them, to change my actions to reach my goals? And that's why it's so important to have these kinds of people around you, because if you're only surrounding yourself with people who are on equal footing as you, or people who are doing worse than you because you want to feel really good about yourself, then you're not going to get any further than where you are currently. You're only always going to be one step ahead of a previous version of yourself. You're not going to hit those extremely high milestones that I know you have because you're watching this video. You have to change your environment. And if you don't have those people around you already, then you need to go find them. You need to go find them. Get on Google and Google networking events in my area. Business networking events in my area, conventions in my area, conferences in my area. You have to get out of your comfort zone and go meet the people who are going to help you change your own life. You need to go meet the people who are going to allow you to see beyond the current vision that you can only see because you're only living by what you have been through in the past and only living by what you know. Even if for some reason you're like, Sephora, but there's none of that in my area, then get on YouTube. Get on YouTube and learn from the people on YouTube. Instead of turning on Netflix, instead of watching a movie, instead of doing whatever, go on YouTube and watch those videos there and learn from those people there. Find a YouTube mentor and watch all their videos. Subscribe to their channel. Turn on their notifications. Go read some books. Google, research the best business books to read. Research, Google, the best finance books to read, the best self-improvement books to read, and start reading that. Yes, you can do these things in person, but yes, you can also do these things online. That's why we have this online world, right? So there's no excuse for you to say, but I can't surround myself with who I need to surround myself with, because yes, you can. Because that's exactly what social media is. You've just been using it all wrong. You've been using it to intake things that don't help you achieve your goals or move forward in your life and career. And instead, you've just been using it for fun, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't ever have fun or don't engage in personal edification. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying when you've got a goal you want to reach and you find yourself struggling to reach that goal and you find yourself repeating the same cycle over and over, you actually have to question yourself, how much time are you actually giving to yourself, devoting to hitting your goals, devoting to moving forward, devoting to coming out of the limitations that you've been placing on yourself for the past few years. And only once you do that and actually intentionally start taking actions to the change you want to see, will you start to see progress towards what it is and who it is you want to be in your future. Once you start doing all of these things, you'll start seeing concrete changes in your life, your personal life, your career, and everything you want to do. Right? And just remember that all of it is a step-by-step process. You can't start this one day and then say, oh my gosh, it's not working. Like if you start something on Thursday and then on Friday you're like, no. Or the next Thursday, you're like, no, it's not working. This is things that takes time. Changing your mindset is not an overnight occurrence, right? If you've been negative for 30 years of your life and you think you're going to change that mindset in 2 weeks, that's not happening, okay? If you've been aiming and chasing and trying to change this goal, whether it be I want to be a six-figure earner, whether I want to get this business off the ground, I want to do this, and you've only been at it for a year, that's not long enough. You have to do these things with enough intention, with enough dedication, with enough drive for a long enough period of time to see the change that you want to see. A lot of those people who you think are overnight successes have been going at it for years, and you only think they're an overnight success because you discovered them once they were already successful. You discovered them once they became big. You discovered them once the hard work they'd been putting in for years before actually came to fruition. And so you think they're an overnight success, but they aren't. They've been working silently, they've been working quietly, they've been working continuously, they've been doing it for years before that full level of success came about. And so don't get it wrong, because when you're thinking that, that's more often than not, I'm going to venture a guess and say 99% of the time that is not the case. Do some people blow up overnight? Sure. But 99% of the time, that is probably not the case. And even if you are looking at the few people who did have that overnight success, you should not be judging what you can achieve or how you can move forward or what you can do by the successes of other people, by other people's lanes, by what other people are doing. Because if that's how you're trying to live your life, if that's how you're measuring your success, then you're never going to measure up. Because the only bar, the only measure that you should be measuring against is your own. Measure yourself against your own levels of success. Compete with yourself. Compete with yourself to be better today than you were yesterday, and better next month than you were the month before, and making progress slowly but surely towards who it is you want to be in your life and career. Once you start doing these things, then you'll start seeing those incremental advances, those incremental changes in your finances, in your relationships, in your health, in your life, in your career that you want to see, that you've been wondering why it hasn't been working. And again, a lot of it was probably because you've been being negative to yourself, that your subconscious you don't actually believe in what you're saying or don't actually believe in what you're doing. Because if you're doing something, but you don't believe it's going to work, then guess what? It's not going to work. It's not going to work because you aren't doing what you actually need to be doing to make it work, because your mind, you have told yourself it's not going to work. So you're only doing the things that are going to make that come to fruition, that are going to make it not work. You have to work on changing that mindset, and that is the start of it all. Stop limiting yourself. Stop placing limitations on yourself where they don't belong. If you can dream of something, if you can think of something, then you have to believe that you can achieve that something. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you found it positive. If you like these kinds of videos, then go ahead and leave me a comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on my personal social media at Sephora Gray Esquire, and my law school coaching social media is Topping the Curve. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment those down below as well, and I will see you on my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.